All right, we're in the Blast Off tournament. It's the last. This is my practice account, so I'm going to go out there and just put in one more practice qualifying round. Try and get it in since it's Wednesday. That way I can have a practice account for the opening and weekend round. So we'll just get on it. Let's see what our holes are. Hole number 1, hole number 2. All right. And I'm not pulling out anything more than a power 3 ball. I think there's one hole that I need a kingmaker, but maybe 2. But the rest of them I'm just going to play with. If I need a power 3 ball, I'm just going to play with a Titan. Hole number 1. I'm going to play with my number 1 bag and a Titan, the king of balls. This tournament's sponsored by Titan. When you just need to get it done, bring out a Titan. So if you bring out, so yesterday I was playing with my teammate Kevin, and if you bring out a power 5 ball so that you can get up there in the front, what I screwed up yesterday was I should have pulled all the way to the front, and then I should have pulled back about 2.5 rings so that I could work out, if we get around where we have headwind here, I could work out the headwind. And if I was all the way to the red line, I think yesterday I put on 2 backspin, and I really probably could have put on 1. I was on the green how to putt, but it wasn't too bad of a putt. This green, you can be in a lot of trouble if you're in the wrong spot. So what I'm going to do here with power 3 balls, I'm not going to worry about really trying to get on. What my goal is to do a rough bump, kind of like what my opponent's doing. And you could get that done with a katana, obviously. And try and bleed out. What you don't want to do is get on the green. You don't want to just barely get on the green. Being on the fringe is okay. I may try that with a. Let me try it with a katana. Do I have some katanas? I do. Let's see what I got here. And I just want to eke out of it. I'm going to do a plus 10%. So it'd be 3. It's a ring and a half. 2.1 per ring. Close enough. And I'm rubbing up against the nubs and overpower. It's hard to tell there whether I haven't specifically tried to hit in the. You do not want to end up on the green. It's better to be in the rough right there. This is tough. If you're right up against the hole, it's fine, but there's so much movement on this. You can see how it tails off at the end, so you're in that in-between spot where wind could be a factor, but the drop of the course could be a factor. So like where they're out on the edge of the cup right there, if the wind's a factor, they're going to hit the flagpole. But if they hit it perfect, I'm curious to see if it goes down towards the edge, because there is a drop, and then hit the flagpole. So they got it all right. Let's see what I can get going here. I really don't want to just be on the edge. I want to be kind of in between the flagpole, but it's not cooperating. It's going to be close. I got to hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. El perfecto. Let's see if I come in on that side of the cup. So the wind was a factor there, and there wasn't really that much drop. I was trying to put it in between the flagpole and the bottom edge of the cup, but it was making a jump. It was either wanting to be on the bottom edge or at the flagpole. Not exactly the way I wanted it to go, but it went in the hole, and that is what is important. Hole number two. Hole number two. I have. All right. All right. Hole number two is hole number 5. And I'm doing a 30% plus 0.2 because I keep ending up right on the left-hand edge of the cup. And I've been aiming right at the flagpole, and I think I'm going to aim towards the right-hand edge of the cup, and I'm going to do plus 0.2. And I'm in my Kingfisher, and I'm just doing a max club, so it's 1.1 per ring. And I'm bringing a Marlin. A Marlin. Got a few of those. Ah, no, hold on. I gotta think. I gotta put my thinking cap on here because I'm not using my Kingfisher in this account. My Kingfisher in this account's not as high a level as it is in my 77 account. So I've gotten just from playing Ricky tournaments, I've gotten a ton of Kingfishers and Big Toppers. So my Kingfisher and Big Topper are both level 7 in my 77 account. And I like at level 7, it's really good. It's got more distance, 95% accurate, more ball guide. But here I'm going to use my Hornet, and with that ball, it should be 0.9 per ring at max. So I'm gonna have to really think about how I want to do that. All right. I'm going to play it at the 0.9 plus 30%. I had a lot of confidence going into this, but now I have no confidence whatsoever. This is the first time I've taken this with the Hornet here, and it's so hard to make a super good wind adjustment here because the ring set's so far down the hill. So we will see. I go first. Let's do the wind. 4.9 equals divided by 0.9 equals plus 0.2. 7.27 rings. Man, that seems like a lot. Okay, there's 5, 6, 7 and a quarter. Let's see where that ends up. Let's get in the hole. Off. Ah. Great. And that's going to roll all the way down to the end of the green. It's going to keep rolling. Where you'd really like it right there is for it to roll off, but it won't. It'll roll, and that's not. If you've watched my videos for any length of time or know I'm not the greatest putter in the game. And I made every single mistake that I possibly could have made on that shot, besides just hitting it great. For some reason, I was thinking my Grizzly instead of my Hornet, so I did the 0.9, and it should have just been 1.0. How many mistakes can you make in one draw? A lot. A lot. Yes. That's going from one club to the next. My teammate Dunner's doing the rough bump there, and I think he's doing 20% plus 0.2 and drained it twice yesterday. One of the reasons I like to be, when I'm setting my shot up down there, I like to be 5 rings off of that transitional surface, so that shit right there never happens. And I missed it. Ooh, I got lucky. That's how I say, you're down there at the bottom. That's a max putt because you're going back up that hill. You do not want to overshoot it. Every mistake you could possibly make. You can't be good, be lucky. That's the deal there. Let me have that expression back. There we go. Let's see what I should have did on that. What I should have done, I want equals plus 0.2. It should have been 2.57 instead of the 727. So I was 3/4 of a ring off to start off with. And I hit it great. And I love this hole. Of all the holes that are in this particular course, if I can't get a hole-in-one on this one, I'm not going to get a hole-in-one on the other ones. And I haven't made a hole-in-one on it all week, but that will change. I'm saving it for the weekend round. That's the way you got to look at it. Hole number 2, hole number 3. What is hole number 3? Hole number 3 is hole number 9. All right. And I'm still trying to work on my spin to get up to the ball. Not up to the ball, but up to the plateau. There's a flat area right up. You can kind of see it when you're going up the hill, but like right in this area right here. And these shadows the shadows are actually pointing out into I want to be up in the shadows. So if you're up in the shadows, you're on the top of that plateau. And the first time I came here, I didn't quite put enough topspin on, and I was right before you get to it. And then yesterday I was right at it, but I left a lot on the table. And so I'm going to go to 3 1/4 topspin. And I'm doing plus 15 on the drive. And I think we're getting headwind, so I'm going to bring a Kingmaker just to cut the wind down a little bit. Actually, it's really not going to make any difference because I'm going to have to do a max shot over to the other side. And so I'm just going to bring a Titan. A Titan. The King. I'll bring my... I don't want to bring my number 1 back because I want my secondary club. I'm going to switch this bag up because I'm not using a big topper in this tournament. I'm going to switch it to a Guardian. Everything else looks good. Almost a rare bag. Except for that Spitfire. Very seldom is that Spitfire. The usual suspects down at the bottom, the Nirvana, Spitfire, and Rapier. I mean, those clubs are pretty much... got to be a special hole. It's on one of those holes where we need backspin with those clubs. There's a couple holes in the game that if you're up there, it's nice to have like a Houdini for your sand. Or is that a rough iron? I think it's a Houdini's a sand wedge. And then it's the machete. Let's see if my opponent can get it done. And I'm doing a plus 15, 1.15 times whatever the wind is, divided by 2.1. My opponent's almost up to the, you can see it slows down when it comes up that hill. The deal is with tailwind here, it's going to carry a little bit farther. So like whatever we do, I'm going to pull back a little to the plus 8. Do 3.5. I'm going to pull back just a little. 2.5, 2.87. There's 2.1. I'm going to lean just a little to the left. Oh, and I hit it to the left. I was thinking left, and then I hit it left. I'd like a little teeny bit more, but as long as you're up on that plateau, that's where you want to be. That little bit of extra distance. And with this wind, even if they would have hit it up to the plateau, you're still going to have to do overpower. And this is one of the reasons why I like this particular hole with the Guardian. Because I could actually go right for the green and try and stick it on the green with backspin. I've been doing what my opponent's doing and going over to the left-hand side and then dropping it down, doing a rough bump, and then dropping it down, but that's really kind of dangerous. Let's see where we're at. I can get up there. I'm going to go for it. The deal with going for it right there is with that wind, if I don't get all the way over to the fairway, it's big problems. And my opponent's pissing me off with the emoji deal. In the rough. That was the thing about it would have been safer for me with that wind to go over and just do the rough one, but I was seeing if I could muscle it in. Let's turn the chat off so I don't have to listen to their shit. At all. Let's see if I can get the walk up to it, or if it's gonna give me the jerk around. It's giving me the jerk around. It's messing with me. All right, I need to hit that perfect. Hit it one ring great to the right. And it's one ring great to the right. It's one of those deals that, I mean, it's so close right there. And if you hit it perfect, it's in the hole, and that's the only thing that will go in the hole. And any greater left or right, it's going to end up right on the edge of the cup. Arrgh. Let's get away from that person as fast as possible. This is really tough because this tournament, you cannot drop. That's a drop off the minimum score. And I was talking to Dunner yesterday when we were playing this hole, and the thing about this particular hole is I think there's going to be a ton of people in your bracket. A good 30-40% of the people in the bracket are going to birdie that hole at least once, and probably 25% of the people in the bracket are going to get birdie that hole both times. And so that puts you ahead of a ton of people in your bracket. You have to pick up a ton of shots in this tournament, but like getting ahead of the average guy that's out there, that hole right there is going to separate the crowd because they're not going to get their minimum score no matter how many shots they pick up. It's really hard to recover on a course like this when you drop shots off the minimum on the tough holes. And in my opinion, that hole right there and hole number 9, Dunner got an Albie on hole number 9 yesterday, but that's the exception rather than the rule. I mean, you go there, you need to get eagle on both of those 2 par 5s. And a lot of people may pick up shots on other ones, but they're going to almost every time drop a shot on those holes, and you can't do that. Big mistake. Hole number 4 is hole number 6. This is why this is the practice account. Now, yesterday I took this shot, and I'm going to try something different on this hole, because the problem with hitting off of the rough here is you can get a run and end up back here in the back. So Dunner and I were talking about it yesterday, and the thing is if you're hitting in the rough, is hitting in the back part of the rough instead of the front part of the rough. Because if you're in the front part of the rough, it's kind of in a little bowl right there. And so if you hit on the front part of the rough, you take the risk of hitting, and then it takes a flat bounce. And when it takes that flat bounce, we all know what that does. Is it takes a flat bounce, and then it just jets off, and then you're back here in the back. Whereas if you hit it in the back, you're going to get the bounce forward, and you can avoid that skip. So starting in the back half of this rough, and what I was trying to do yesterday was trying to start off over here in this patch and then bring the ball back around and I didn't have enough side spin on my ball, so I had to move it to the right into the narrower part of the rough. And I think here yesterday we had a headwind, and so making sure that and because you have to start so close to the outside edge here, you really want to make sure your wind adjustment's right. So if you can start over here, you have a little bit more leeway. If you screw it up a little bit and you don't pull it enough, or you pull it too much, you're still going to hit this rough and end up getting that bounce forward. Whereas if you're here and you make a mistake, you could miss the rough entirely, and then you're really screwed. And I brought a Navigator yesterday, and it didn't quite have enough side spin, so I'm going to bring Quasar today and see if I can get it done with a Quasar. And I think it's with the Grizz. And I'm going to do, because it's a low power ball, I'm going to do a 0.9 per ring. I'm going to do a max adjustment and 20%. So 1.2 times the wind divided by 0.9. And we'll see how that plays out. The world's gone mad. The world's gone. And that's a damn true statement. All right, let's do the wind first. 4.7 equals divided by 0.9, 6 1/4 rings. Now let's see if I have enough spin there. Not quite. I need to bring a katana. Let's see if it's got enough oomph to get me to the cup. 6 1/4 rings. There's 5, 6 1/4. Getting it perfect. El perfecto. Not quite enough. The speed was right, but I was still off the cup on the left. So like based off the wind right there, is it a bigger pull, or do I need to bring out a bigger side spin ball so that I can actually get to the cup? Because the katana would definitely work better. That extra side spin will allow me to start where I want to start. So I'm going to change that ball to a katana instead of a Quasar, and that may throw me. I have no idea where I'm at in my club, so I'll have to take a couple shots with the katana to see what kind of adjustment to make. Or I could not be a wussy and hitting the narrow part in the rough right in front of it and just bring it up. That'd be novel. The most important part of a rough bump is hitting the rough. That's rule number 1. And then we can go to rule number 2, which is not hitting it in the right spot so you don't get a straight up in the air bounce, or you get one of those scoop bounces. But rule number 1 with a rough bump is, if you're going to do a rough bump, you've got to hit the rough. And if you don't, you're going to end up exactly like my opponent. You either had to put some backspin on it in order to slow the ball down when it came out of the rough, and you end up getting caught in the rough there, or you miss the rough entirely and then blow past the green. I think my opponent hit it perfect and it didn't go in. That's how easy it is to drop on. And this par 3 in particular is a dangerous par 3. The first one's dangerous if you overshoot like I did, because you can end up in a really crappy putting area. But that one, I've never had a ton of success on that. I've made hole-in-ones on it, but it's not like I feel comfortable when I go there like, hey, I got a serious shot at hole-in-one. It never feels like that. Hole number 5 is hole number 7. Hole number 7. All right, I've been working the shot this week because I'm trying to demo for everybody who doesn't want to bring out a big ball to get into this area. You can hit on the white line and come out to here, but to me, it's worth the effort to try and just get out in front. And it doesn't, you can do it from over here with a lower power ball to get up there. And yesterday I came here, I just didn't put on enough topspin, and I ended up in the rough here. I made the shot, but you want to just end up in front. You can use this island, depending on which way the wind's blowing. I think the wind was blowing like this, so that we had to do a little bit of overpower. And so if you bring out a bigger ball, you can consistently get on this island and work the wind out if you want to just lay it up in front. I did see one of my opponents the other day was able to shoot the shot from here and ended up getting a bounce here and a bounce over. They clipped the rough and it slowed them down, and then they rolled out and they were right here off the green. Beautiful shot. But it is kind of hard to get your bounces right to get over that sand trap, whereas it's pretty easy to end up right here. And you've got a serious shot to get in there. But you can do that same deal from back over here. Your ball guide's going to be going out like this. You want to get your topspin so that you can get out into this area and maximum curl and bleed out. The deal is you got to go quite a ways to get, if you're on this track, you got to go quite a ways in that rough. So you've got to put, it may look like, yesterday I was thinking, I can do it with 5 topspin, and I should have put on a little bit more. Big Topper. Big Topper's a great club for this. It's got lots of curl, has lots of topspin. You can come back into this area right here with a Big Topper, definitely with a power 3 ball, but you might be able to do it with a katana and still be able to work out headwind. Maybe. Let's see what it looks like with a Big Topper. Do I have a Big Topper? I changed my Big Topper bag for that one. I don't think I'm using a rock at all today. At all. Let's select the Big Topper. Big Topper! I think I can do this with a katana. But I may have to bring a Kingmaker out. Maybe. Let me try it with a katana. Let's try it with a katana. Let's buy some katanas just in case we need them. All right, I'll try it with a Big Topper and see what that looks like. Let's open up a chest. Don't want to play without an empty slot. We're farmers. We're working on clubs. We're farming. Off we roll. Off we roll. Okay, so I can get to the spot with the Big Topper. I don't need to put a ton of curl on it, but I'm going to move it out just a little so I give myself a little bit of leeway on that. I'm going to aim right for that tree. 3-3. It's exactly the same as my extra mile, so that's about a ring and a half. There's max curl. I'm going to do that much curl. No overpower. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I got the curl and the topspin and all of the stuff right. El Perfecto. Big Topper. So I've demoed that this week with an extra mile and Apocalypse and a Big Topper, and from that spot you can do it, and you can do it with a lower power ball. So instead of having to do overpower, you can get that done. I don't see anybody but me trying that shot. But in one-on-one, that's how I play it all the time, because you can play it with a marlin from right there. And if you've got headwind, you can do overpower from that spot, and you can reach it where you can't reach the island with a marlin. See if my opponent can get it on. Hitting it perfect. They almost got the shot my opponent did the other day. Very, very close. If they'd have put any more curl on it, they would have ended up in the sand here, and they wouldn't have had a shot at it. Okay, there's max. Puts me at mid. At mid. Let me do some math here. It's 3.8. If divided by 2.4, be 1.6 rings. At this level with this grass, you can't tell shit. Let's see where that put me off the cup. I'm going to go just a little teeny bit more. Need to hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. In the hole. Get her done. That shot will work. That dog will hunt. That drop shot on that par 5 will end up hunting the round. But as long as I can make the par 4s, in the last par 4, like if you can't make that par 4, you can't make any par 4 in the freaking game. It's the easiest par 4 in the game to get to go for hole in one, but it's the easiest par 4 in the game to get an eagle. It's a lot easier if you got a power 5 ball because you don't have to do any overpower. So if you come there with a power 3 ball, you may have to do overpower to get up there. And I'm not exactly sure how much topspin to put on it if I do a bunch of overpower. So I've been hitting it short and then chipping it up. And I haven't really been able to go for the hole in one this week because I haven't made it to the green yet because I've been a little hesitant on it. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? Hole number 6 is hole number 3. All right. Got to get an Albie on this hole. Gots to get an Albie. Now the deal is, depending on which way the wind's blowing, normally I play a power 4 ball on this, and I usually... a power 4 ball puts me in the right spot. Like you can't overhit. Like you can bring a power 5 ball here, but it carries on that island. And so if the wind is blowing, if you're getting tailwind, you really don't need to bring a power 5 ball because you can achieve the same thing with a power 4, but you can overhit that island for sure. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. We're getting tailwind, so I'm just going to bring a power 3 ball. I'm going to bring a Titan and use some wind. Push me. And I'm going to bring my number 1 bag. Off we roll. Now, the first time I came out here in the practice round, I actually ended up just dribbling onto the green, which is death because you cannot make it. It's beyond a max overpower putt. I mean, it's a max overpower putt, but you can't get there even at max overpower. Even if you go up the hill and try and roll it back down, you can't get there. If you're on the green, you want to be right by the hole or cup, or you're in big, big trouble. And it is a tricky little chip to get it to get in. Boston Bruins. And the Bruin goes first. Yeah, you can't hit it to the left. In I don't even know in Masters, nobody hits to the left. There's spectators out there during tournament week, and you hit it to the left, and you're going to have a bunch of fans pissed off at you. So no hitting to the left. The greenskeepers are always pissed off about this hole because they have to maintain that area. This is the deal my opponent was trying to hit. I'm not a fan of hitting it straight forward on this shot through here. I want to come over to this area where it's deeper and I have more room. Okay, so it's 3-1. I'm going to move it right into that area. Hit it. 1 ring, 7,500 rings to the left. Stay out of the rough. Don't get on. I came here one time. We were playing in a tournament, and it was in a community cup, and this hole was in there. And I ended up just eking. I was on that same trajectory, and it rolled over the top of that hill, and I thought, oh yeah, it's going to get caught in the fringe, and then it just dribbled off the fringe and got on the green, and was like, oh my gosh. I went from a really serious Albie shot to like I might as well have not played the hole. And they're doing the same thing. They're going into that narrow area, and look, they damn near did the same thing again. So much deeper on that other side. You got a lot more room to work with. Chip in to win. You pretty much have to get an Albie on this hole. For those of you that watched the Albatrossable 9-hole cup, I was like how come this hole wasn't in there? I mean, like, of all the Albie holes that we have. And then when I saw the stuff for this tournament, I was like, okay, I understand now. They don't want us to play the same hole in 2 tournaments in a row. Hitting it perfect. But this hole really deserved to be in the Albatross a ball hole, because like, you have to get an Albie here. Like, if you're going to keep up with the Joneses at the top of the bracket, you have got to get an Albie on this hole. All right, there we go. Let's see what we got for hole number 7. Hole number 7 is hole number 4. All right, this is the one. We got to get an eagle here. And I definitely want to take power 3 ball. Which way's the wind blowing? That's going to determine which ball I bring. Opening up a chest, get it rolling. I'm going to have to buy something in this account so that I can get some gems. These split ones, I always like to buy the full packs where you get, if you're buying a $20 pack, you get 40 balls instead of the split packs where you get 20 of each. The balls that are in here right now aren't that bad though, and they're 444. Those are great. If you're going to buy 4 power balls, the 444s work really, really well. Now, I don't need to do max overpower if I'm going to do max topspin. I could do some overpower, or I can take some topspin off. So let's do 6 topspin. Let's do 5 topspin. I like the look of that. 3, 4. Hit it 70 rings, great to the right. I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to be in trouble at the very beginning. Not good. And this is what did I say earlier? This is the easiest par 4 in the game to eagle. And that's all because I was dinking around using overpower. I should have just went up there, and I'm trying. The deal is that you've got to make these holes consistent. This is why Playdemic is a ball manufacturer, and you can keep your head in the sand and do the whole little deal. But the one thing that nobody really talks about is the elephant in the room is the balls. So like, if you have to buy the ball packs. And this is a hole right here that I will guarantee you, if you have 5 power balls in your bag and you're not using them on this hole so that you can standardize this, you're like, why the hell did you buy the 5 power balls? Why? And I have no idea what to do to the cups since I'm at distance. I'm just going to do a straight up shot. There's max. There's mid. And about that 3/4 range. to get up closer so I'm closer to max. And I'm just going to do a regular standard adjustment. Start off on that side of the cup. 4-3. So I'm just going to do a 4-3 pull. I'm not going to do any plus or anything. Just going to do 4-3. 4, 2.5, 3. 4-3. I definitely need to hit this perfect. Hitting it perfect. And I overpulled it. I wasn't quite at max. I was probably at about 70%, 80%. So if you got a slider when you're using the app, it can make those little you can use that slider to your advantage right there in that spot. If you're using paper numbers and you're just doing the math with a calculator, it's hard to work that. Sometimes, especially with my rapier, I'd rather be at mid club with max topspin than the 3/4 club, because it's hard to work those numbers. The goal there is don't end up where I was at, just be on the green and one so that you can make the dang eagle. Arrgh. That's 2 holes dropped. Really, you got to get an eagle at. So that's a drop shot. I dropped the one on the par 5 and I dropped the one right there. Not good. All right. Hole number 8. What kind of practice round is this? This is trying to get your, if you've got a practice account. And if you're brand new to the game, the very first thing you need to do is set up another account so that you've got 2 accounts going so that their clubs are the same and you can have a practice account to go in and practice. But you've got to get it into the next round so that you can use it in the weekend. And this hole right here is, I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to use my sniper and I'm done trying to hit it straight to the cup. Because here's the way the cup looks. Here's the flagpole. And it's on a mound. And everything falls off this way and everything falls off this way leading up to it. But there is a backboard that you can come down. And if you're going to use the backboard, you need to start off on the left-hand side and bring it to the right. It's not going to work as well if you go the other direction. I don't even know if it'll work if you go to the other direction. You're going to have to go this way. And yesterday I was at minimum club and I did a max adjustment plus 10%. And let me see which way the wind's blowing. And I got pushed off to the right, so I'm going to do a 15% at minimum club. What's up, puppies? What's up, puppies? And I think to do that, I was using let me try a Marlin. I think it is a Marlin. Let me try a Marlin. Let me try a 0 power ball. I'm going to use my sniper for the shot. Here we go. Da-da-da-da. So I'm going to do a plus 15. I tried a plus 10 yesterday, hit it perfect into it, and ended up getting pushed off a little. So let's try a plus 15. The deal is I can get a couple different shots on there with different numbers, and then I can go back and look at them and see like how those performed. All right, I like to be white ring off the transition. Coming back down towards the cup. Let's make sure that's going towards the cup. And it's 2.6. It's 2.99 rings. So 3 rings. One, two, 3 rings. Let's hit it perfect. Oh, sure. What's funny is it's going out farther up that hill than it looks like on the ball guide. The ball guide shows it's not going up that high, and I wasn't doing any adjustment there, so I almost feel like I need to do maybe like a titch of backspin. When you're looking at it right here and you look at their ball guide, the ball guide's just going, it doesn't show that little mound that the flagpole is on. And what happens is when it goes up the hill to the mound, it pushes the ball off. So if you're low on the mound, it'll push it off to the right. And if you're coming at it from the left like my opponent was, it tends to push it off to the left. You can see it right there where it breaks over the top of it, and then it breaks to the left. It doesn't look like much from here, but that little mound is and that used to not, it wasn't there when the game first started. It used to not. Used to not. It was flat, and the cup was just on the flat. And so this hole was a lot more hole-in-oneable than it is now. And the only real change that you can notice on there is that they put that on that mound. And when they put that on that mound, now you got all kinds of shit going on. And my success rate trying to hit it straight to it since they put that mound there, which was a couple years into the game, so it's been 2 or 3 years now that it's been there, is not near. I'm gonna do something different on it. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and you keep getting the same result, that's insanity. So I'm gonna change. I'm gonna do that backboard thing on there. Even if I don't make it, at least I'm trying something different. Hole number 9. Hole number 9, I am bringing out. Let me get my bag first. I'm trying a shot. I'm gonna use my APOC. Let's see how much curl I got. I got plenty of curl. I'm gonna use my APOC, and I'm gonna use a Kingmaker. Now, yesterday what I did in the shot, screw up on my part. What hole is this? It's hole number 8. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the yellow line, kind of. Instead of hitting down here and then trying to bring it to the cup, what I'm doing is I'm trying to start off down in this area and in one shot end up over here in short iron range. And what I was yesterday was I was too far into my shot. So like my red line was down here, and I went all the way down to the red line. And so I was actually, with the curl, I could barely make it. And I hit it one ring great to the right, and I ended up in the rough right here. But my mistake was that I went too far forward into my shot. I needed to pull back a little bit so that I gave the curl enough room to develop to land in this fairway area. And so instead of going all the way to max, pulling it back to maybe like the plus 10 or plus 8 mark, and giving myself a little bit of room so that my curl could become more effective. And I'm taking that bag and that ball, and I'm ready. And I have no idea what kind of numbers I should be doing on the other side, because I haven't been in the right spot. Not yet. And I haven't tried it with this Apocalypse, so I don't know. So yesterday I was down in here, and I want to be a couple rings off the transitional surface. I want to come. I'm really focused on where that second bounce is. I want to make sure that second bounce is past the sand. Where am I at? I'm at the plus 9 mark. 3.5. It's 1.5 per ring. I'm going to do a ring and a half. I'm going to overpull this. Or excuse me, 2.5 rings. Right back to the red line. Max curl. Just a titch of overpower. Hit it one ring great to the right. Let's see if I pulled it back enough for the curl to develop to get me into the fairway. That's where I want to end up. Now, one thing that I did learn on that is that if you're hitting in headwind, you can hit with max topspin on a level 5 Apocalypse. But if you're hitting with tailwind, you need to take off about 1.5 topspin, because it'll roll out and it'll end up in that sand. So the first time I tried that shot, I was back and I was in long iron range. And then the second time I tried it, I was in the sand, but where I was out with my, I was in the rough right there by the sand. But I was only in like mid nirvana. So I would have been in my short iron range. So I should be in short iron range right now. And I have no idea what kind of adjustment I should be making from that spot. And yesterday I got lucky and got caught in that rough and did not do what my opponent did. But there is that risk there if you hit it great to the right. Am I in short iron? I am. Where's my max? I'm right there at max. So it's 3.9 times 1.1 equals 4.29 rings. .29 rings. There's 4, 3. Hitting it perfect. I did a 10% at max club there, and let's see how far off I am. I underpulled it. So I should have did, even from that spot right there, I should have did maybe a 20%. Opponent's got the same club as me, and they're at the plus 14, and I'm telling you, if you push it all the way to the plus 14, that's not going to work. Not unless he hits it, or they hit it great to the left. It may work on a perfect, but you're too far forward where you've put yourself, you're putting yourself to the point where the curl can't make it around that bend. You've pushed it too far forward and actually taken yourself out of the shot. In the hole. Eagle. All right, I had a couple drop shots there. I dropped one off the minimum score, and then I didn't pick up the easiest freaking par 4 in the game. But that still should be good enough to qualify me. Still got a couple holes that I need to work on. The hole that I really am, I'm not too upset about the fact that I haven't made any hole-in-ones on it yet, but hole number 2, I got to get that hole. Gots to get that hole. They hit that perfect. That's going to be real damn close. Hitting it perfect? That is going to be close. I can't believe how far off that was. But I don't know what the numbers are on a hornet, or excuse me, a thorn. A lot of people are going to get birdie on that hole. I don't think quite as many are going to get birdie on that hole as on the hole number 3, but it's going to be a close thing. Hole number 3 and hole number 9, those are going to ruin. And I will tell you right now that that hole right there has ruined. I lost a tournament because of that hole, and it can happen. That hole can eat your lunch, and that shot that I'm taking right there is pretty dangerous. If you wanted to go all the way to your max club, you really need to bring a 4 power ball, or a 4 side spin ball will help you out getting up there. But if you pull back a little bit, you can bring yourself back into the shot. That should easily qualify. Pretty sure I should make it. We got minus 16s at the top. Here's the way that this is going to go. This is how I truly believe that we always start off with minimum score of 12, because every hole you have to make at least a minimum score. Like I dropped that one par 5, and that is a serious mistake, dropping a shot like that, because you're dropping one off the minimum score. You can't you're already trying to pick up shots to get you up towards the top. Now you're using them to cover your ass for shots that you dropped. It's not good. But minus 16 is where the tournament's going to start. Like some brackets, you're going to win with a minus 16. But in a lot of brackets, and in my brackets, I am 100% sure that minus 16 is where it starts. This is where, and like I said yesterday, this is where the reporters, ESPN is going to want to interview when you walk off of hole number 18 if you shot a minus 32. They're probably going to want to talk to you at the end before you go to the clubhouse about the minus 16 that you just posted. And your caddy's trying to keep everybody away from you because they don't want you to know where you're at. But when you walk off of 18 and you got a minus 32, they'll come and interview you because now you're at least in like the top 10. But if you want to win, you need to get one other shot, one of those other holes. We need to get hole number 2, or we need to get one of those other par 3s, or we need to, the par 5s are tough. So, and we have to get all 3 of the par 4s. And one of the par 5s, we have to get an Albion. But the other 2 par 5s, in my opinion, they're low percentage Albi shots. So where we can really pick one up is we pick up the 3 par 4s, we get the 1 par 5, and where our luck is going to be is hole number 2. We've got to get that down. We need to pick that up at least once in the round so that we can separate ourselves from the other 32s and get the 33. And now you're in the hunt for a banner. But you could be Dunner's bracket yesterday, I think minus 14. He shot a 14 and he was in the lead. So it's really going to just depend on bracket. But if you want to assure yourself of at least being in the conversation for a banner, you're going to have to shoot the minus 32 plus. This is just, as the week goes on, people are going to get better and better and better on these holes. And there's going to be a lot of people like me where, like in this account, I'm not pulling out my berserkers right now, but in the weekend round, you can bet like on the 1 par 4, I'm going to pull out a power 5 ball so that I can give myself a better chance of just getting up there and making sure that I get an eagle. All right, there you go. Another practice round. Got my practice account in, so I can get a few more rounds in as the week goes along so that I can see what I learn. Hopefully everybody's having a great week. This is a great course. We've all played it because we all have to play when it's been in Tour 2 and it's been a low forever. I kind of liked it. We have so many courses now. I kind of liked it when everything that was in, if you're playing regular 1v1, everything that was in Tour 2 was in Tour 7, and everything that was in Tour 3 was in Tour 8, and everything that was in Tour 4 was in Tour 9, and everything. So when you went up, you never wanted to, once you get past Tour 8, you don't want to go back down because you'll lose your trophies and you'll never get them back. It's hard to get them back because you're playing against replays nonstop. But you could go back down here, especially if you had a practice account, and that's what I used my 77 account for. I could go back down here when I went to Tour 10 or when I went to Tour 11. You could go back down and you could practice those holes and get used to you could at least get an idea, remember what the holes look like. You're hitting from a farther back tee, but you could go back and practice those holes and do it. But we have enough courses out there now. All right, there you have it. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Stay safe.